Welcome to today's episode um, of Perspective Africa. My name is Ayotunde Adeyanju, and with me today is Larry and Oracle. Um, today's episode, promises to be, quite engaging. Today, we're diving into the state of Nigeria under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a presidency that has stirred strong opinions, tough economic realities, and even raised critical questions about governance. This administration came with bold steps and bold reforms, from economic reforms to social infrastructural reforms. But even with the reforms, also we can also see the borrowing patterns, the political strategy, and we see the public sentiment. So in today's episode, we'll be reviewing, just looking critically on this present administration since its inception from 2023. It's something that as Nigerians we just want to have a holistic understanding of the administration so far, and also as the next election begins to take shape, the conversation is no longer just about who will be on the ballot, but how Nigerians engage the political process long before election day. Are citizens simply voters, or are they active participants in shaping leadership? So all of these things we'll be diving in today, and it's going to be interesting. So let's get into it. Um, I think the straight question to just throw out there is, um, since 2023, what is our general opinion of this administration? I think I'll give it to Larry to begin.
Okay. Hi, hello, I'm Larry. I would like to start with, I have this here. I'd like to read, from the Renewed Hope 2023 Action Plan for a Better Nigeria. This is, I'm quoting what the APC, what they laid on ground, the foundation that they built everything on. This is
Yeah.
what they promised. Okay. Our party, the All Progressives Congress, APC, was founded on the premise that the people of our beloved country are entitled to the benefits that only progressive good governance can procure.
Yeah.
Okay? And the table of contents went from national security, economy, agriculture, power, oil and gas, transportation, education, healthcare, digital economy, entertainment and culture, youth empowerment and entrepreneurship, women empowerment, social programs, judicial reform, federalism, decentralization of power, foreign policy, and that's where it ends.
Yes.
A whole lot of nothing. I, I wouldn't want to miss words.
Yeah.
I'm a Yoruba man. We are far from where we began. I used to root for APC back in 2015. I firmly believed that we needed a change back then. Do I still think so right now? I don't think so. Because, a lot of, maybe I grew up, I grew older and started learning that politicians would always say things to us, things that they won't really do. They just, say it out just to campaign for votes.
Mhm.
I don't want to take, too much time because this is, meant to be like a preface.
Yeah.
So let me give the ground to
Okay. All right, cool. Your immediate thoughts on that. Like, what do you think of this present administration?
Mhm. I am Tony and Larry. I'm very happy to be here, and I thought I was going to be the anti-APC person on the show, but Fortunately,
Fortunately, yeah. So,
Larry is on my side, so I don't know what party Ayo would be, would be
like I
rooting for
said,
now.
I'm with everybody.
The words of the late former President Buhari, I belong to nobody, I belong to
Everybody.
everybody. Well. So here, I, unlike Larry, I have never supported APC. Since their inception in 2014, I knew they started, coming together in 2013. I was very young at that time. I was still living in Nigeria. And, at that time, I just knew that they were just not the right people for Nigeria. But also understanding political climate, though back then, everybody was yearning for change, like Larry said. And because of the desire for change, we're here. Now, I don't want to go back to Buhari's disastrous 8 years. We want to focus on the last 3 years of Bola Tinubu. Um, up until 2 days ago, I was still having a conversation about my friend who is in the APC. And I'm always trying to be a fair person. So I'll start by saying, in the history of Nigeria, and I have studied it quite well, Bola Tinubu is probably Nigeria's greatest politician.
Mhm.
Absolutely, he's a great politician. But I think, and maybe as governor of Lagos, he was also probably a great administrator or a great governor. But as president, the last 3 years, he has performed below par. I just left Nigeria about 2 weeks ago, so I know how bad things are.
Questions on ground.
Even though there are people that I also spoke to while I was there that were like, they believe in his economic reform, they think he's doing something. And I'm conflicted between those people who believe in his ideas and his reforms, and the people that I actually also see that are hungry and cannot afford the basics. So as this conversation, continues,
Mhm.
I'll be sharing more of my how I feel about this administration.
Explain.
But
Yeah.
in this
So,
short
so
introductory part,
yeah.
I don't think ideally Bola Tinubu deserves a second term in office.
Okay. So, I guess my next thought or question would be that, or really, when this administration came in, we saw the initial policies that it started. Like one, I'll start with the economic reforms, and the economic reforms itself. Do we think it's a good idea? The removal of the subsidy, all of those reforms that he started, with. Are we saying these reforms are not beneficial, or is it that, what is it that is missing now? And why is it that all of these reforms that they say, as far as the economic reforms, why is it not trickling down to the common people? You understand what I'm saying? Like, we hear these reforms, we see all these things. They say they're making payments to, um um you know their citizens. They come out and let us know this is the amount that we're sending to people. They tell us about the policies of the renewed hope, housing, which I also have seen back for myself. I've seen, I even tried applying to some, or to a couple, like, rather, the renewed hope housing. We've also seen the again, going back to the, fuel subsidy removal, right? We see that, yes, he removed that. A lot of people have mixed opinions about that, but majorly, I don't think it's a bad idea at all, removing the subsidy. However, also, because if they say removing the subsidy allows the government to have more money, and it did have more money, giving the governors a lot of like more than they were getting before. I think about 3 times more than what they were getting. So we can see that the reforms are not. And also, there's something in my mind I wanted to say. As far as merging the FX, the changes, the dollar to naira, exchanges, also merging it, and removing all of the excesses from that. I think those policies does make sense. But if these policies are good, they say are there, right? Why is it that, like you said, the common man are still struggling. What exactly is going on? Is it that the policies are bad, or is it that they did not plan? Because if you're making these hard policies, is it that they didn't have some sort of caution or something to hold the general public, or is it a case of where the general public have to suffer while people in the government do not get to, they don't get to feel what everybody else is feeling? So I'm throwing it out there. I know it's quite a lot. So, but you know, what do we think about this? Is it that the reforms are not working, or that it's just taking time, or it's that some people are benefiting while some people are left to bear the consequences of the reforms? So I'm just throwing that out there.
So thank you for that. We keep, talking about reforms, reforms, reforms. I believe when you want to make a reform or anything like that, of course, it has to trickle down eventually. Now, everybody, would say, oh, like Oracle as well. I was back in Nigeria back in 2015, when everything started. May, our last president, Buhari, may so rest in peace. People would say, oh, the reform Buhari made, when he's not there anymore, you guys will see it. Where are the reforms? What has he done? What were the reforms? Where has the reforms trickled to? Because immediately Bola Tinubu, our new president, came in, he switched practically almost, the reforms came on, things, became harder for people, and we were looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. You wanted to say something today?
No, let me let you finish your.
Okay.
I just like
People,
something just came to my mind.
okay, so people are now we're looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. I could cite, fuel prices. Before I left Nigeria, I was filling my gas, my tank with probably like, 5,500 or 7,500 before I left. Now it's like 53K or 60K to fuel the same car. That's a reform. I understand. They were buying rice. Not all of us could say the amount we send to Nigeria back then is not as much as what we send right now. Right now, we send a lot more. A lot of people calling me. You all know it. You are even afraid to post some of your pictures on Facebook. We don't want to blame our people because we do understand the situation. Once they see your pictures on Facebook, they you they are, oh my goodness. There's a lot of things. A lot of things are wrong, and we keep saying we throw English words around. Oh, the reform, the this. If the reform is not trickling down to the ordinary citizens table, what reforms are we doing? Rice is affected. The other day I saw people, selling slice of yams on the road because because I send money enough money to my family. And the thing about Nigeria is that, like you said, some set because they, let me use the word insulated, because they are insulated from some of the situation. They don't see it. I was born in Ojuelegba, I was born in Surulere. I know what my people are seeing. I know what my people are saying. I've spoken with people today. I will speak to people every day. Yes, 100%, they wouldn't be able to say, oh, yeah, it trickled down. Every time we talk about reforms, we do this, we do that. What is it translating to for the common man? Rice?
I think reform is probably one of the most abused in Nigerian
So,
politics. I,
Go
I,
ahead.
I, I just want to quickly, speak on
Yeah.
some of
Go.
the things you mentioned. So again, I know politics. That's what I do for the most part of my life. You see, when people say, "Oh, give Bola Tinubu time, be patient with him, his reforms are going to trickle down," and I tell them, I would not subscribe to that idea of giving him time. The reason why Buhari had a disastrous 8 years was because they tricked people into saying, "Oh, give him time. A lot of things was wrong under PDP for 16 years. It's trying to rebuild it, and it's gonna take time." And people thought, "Oh, that sounds like a very good idea. Sometimes some of these positive reforms takes time." And we watched pure water from 5 naira, 10 naira when Buhari came in 2015. Pure water is 15 naira in Nigeria now. I am giving recent update. Like I said, I just came back like about 2 weeks ago. I was visiting. There were a lot of things that I was so surprised by when it comes to prices of basic things. Now I can afford it, thank God. I thought, but my concern when I was there is the people who live here, who live on the 70,000 minimum wage that most people don't even pay. How are they able to afford this? For you to eat one meal in Nigeria, one good meal like here as an adult, you're spending about 3,000. Now we're saying eat 3 square meal a day. So let's say you spend 9,000 naira every day on food. 9,000 times 30, your salaries cannot even afford it. So I don't know how people survive. And that comes to what Larry said about the stress now coming onto people like us who live abroad, who have to, help them. So in terms of the some of the policies you mentioned or reforms, let's start with the full subsidy. If Bola Tinubu and his then ACN had been very patient with former President Jonathan when he removed the subsidy in 2012, when he removed the subsidy in January 2012, they were selling gas for like, and let's call it full. They were selling for like a little over 100 naira. They protested against it. A year or 2 years ago, former governor of Ekiti, Kayode Fayemi, publicly said they knew the removal of fuel subsidy was a good policy. But because of the politics of it at that time, they protested and made sure Jonathan looked bad for removing subsidy. If Jonathan had successfully removed that subsidy from about 10 or 15 years ago, we would have been seeing more reforms. But they played politics with it. Tinubu came in, the first thing he did was removal of subsidy. Now, okay, good idea. Even though you were against this policy years ago.
Before.
Now, nobody in the history of Nigeria, no president, has borrowed more money than Bola Tinubu, the same president who removed full subsidy. The big
And
question now is, where are those money going to? Now,
okay,
I want to support Bola Tinubu in this next phase, so I'll round it out. Now,
yes, go on.
I was still speaking to somebody on Friday actively about Nigerian politics, and I was on that call for about 2 hours. Now, the argument is it's giving governors money, and I agree. An average local government chairman in Nigeria is now getting over 300 million and
Yes,
billion. I,
yes,
I
billion rather.
literally
Yes,
saw
yes,
what I have the picture on my phone as I just researched it on Friday. They
yes.
get a little in the last one was even about 400 billion. So now the argument is giving more money to governors. Yes, it's giving more money to local government. Now the question is, are they also managing these people and how they are using this money?
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I wanted to get to because sorry, I did.
I would, just to, I do apologize. Just to
No,
piggyback on
go
what he
on.
said, just to piggyback on what he said, accountability. We talk of, and, most people would like to say, oh, he's the president, he's giving them the leeway, he's giving them this, but everything still circles back to his table. If Nigeria becomes good today, we will praise the president. If the reform or whatever makes rice, a bag of rice, 20K today or 15, we will say, oh, Bola Tinubu has tried. It's not as if Bola Tinubu left Abuja to go and start selling the rice. But the idea that he and the whole cabinet put in place actually worked. Of course, I'll praise him. I'll praise him. But there's no accountability in Nigeria for anything whatsoever. He mentioned Fayemi. Fayemi went on air and said, the same thing. Normally, you would reason that saying stuff like that would have ended his political career. But it's Nigeria.
Yeah.
Anything goes. Anything
Unfortunately.
goes. Yeah, it's what it is.
So what I'm getting here is that now it's not that this fuel removal, I mean, fuel subsidy removal, or the let me just quickly count like five policies that he launched this administration. So we can see that. So he launched the first subsidy removal. He launched the exchange rate unification. It decentralized the electricity sector, giving the states now rights to generate their own electricity. Now, he also worked on the tax reforms, right? So that's about four. There are also like social intervention programs, these cash transfers that they say they're doing to school students and general people. Now, there is also one about the oil, because I wrote them down, the oil and gas sector. Now we have this new refinery, with Dangote, and also like new the other reforms there in the oil sector. Now he has all these reforms, because what I'm getting is it's not like these reforms are not good, but it's also that you're playing you did play you played politics with these actual reforms that was supposed to have kicked off like years back, that for now we should have started receiving or getting the dividends or the benefits of those of that these reforms now. So now that you now want to implement it, because and now you're also again giving, and you're going back to the accountability part. Now you give you're giving governors and local government that they're having more money, thinking that they will use it to benefit the people around them, so they will probably not feel the shock or the hardship that will come with the fuel removal, because there's no way that with the fuel removal something wasn't going to happen with the economy, with the prices of things. That was going to happen. But if you're giving these people money and thinking that with the expectation that they were going to use it to benefit their people, so that it would not, the impact will not be as large as it is now, and they're not doing that. It means that, to me, going back to what you're talking about, that it's just it's just a you have these policies and you're not proactive about securing them to work, if that makes sense. And if you come and knowing that this is the case of Nigeria, all of these things, it's not like it's new to us that they're going to, maybe, the corruption has stopped, or maybe because you come into government, it's not so. If you're coming to the government and telling us that we expected that there should be some sort of uh, 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 proactiveness, if that makes sense. Like, if you're doing all these reforms, what is securing it? You
Okay, I
know.
want to quickly say something. When I
Mm,
started this thing, I agreed on this show, and I've agreed on that fact almost all my life, that
mm,
Bola Tinubu is Nigeria's greatest politician. Then for Bola Tinubu, I think he plays politics more than is doing is governing. All the reforms you mentioned, when you hear them, they sound good. I'm not gonna lie. But all of those reforms also, I could sit here and give you loops in those reforms why it is failed. Let's start
mm,
with the student loan. Let's start. They said they're giving people student loans.
yeah.
Now, almost all federal universities in Nigeria increased their tuition. So now tuition is high. Now you're giving me loan to pay, and that loan is repayable with a. I think there's even an interest on the loan, and if you default on the loan, there's prison time attached to it.
To be alone.
That's for lack of better words is
Where
BS.
would they
Why
even get
are
the
you
job?
increasing?
Where would
Why
they
are
get
you
the job?
giving me loan? Then you are increasing the fee. They're just putting me in more problems. It's like you're you're biting me and you're blowing a little, brazen me. So
Mm,
when you talk about the tax reform, I was very much in support of some of those tax reforms when he first talked about it. And that tax reform, you know why it died? because Bola Tinubu likes to play politics more than governing. When he made that reform, where it was, I think part of that reform was that states will get what they bring to the table. So it's gonna be, if you bring 10 naira, I bring 20 naira, Larry
Mhm.
brings 50 naira. Because Larry brought more, Larry will get more. The Northerners opposed, all major Northern governors opposed that policy. And I
Why is that?
remember, because they were not bringing enough to the table. But because the current sharing had no respect for what you bring, the
Right.
current sharing has respect for number. That is, even if I brought 10 naira, Larry brings 50 naira. If I have more people in my state,
People get
I
more.
tend to get more money than somebody that brought more. And that
You
style,
have you have states like the Niger Delta region. All of them ended up suffering for it.
I think Bayelsa
Yeah,
as a state has
yeah,
only local government, if I'm not wrong.
yeah.
It contributes a significant amount of money to
So
the
so
government.
so so
So
is it
there
sorry, go
is
on.
this idea. So when it floated that idea, there was a little bit of, not even, there was strong resistance from the Northerners. And because of politics, it looked at the political implication. If I go with this good idea, these people will not give me vote in 2027. So I'd rather kill this good idea that brings fairness and equity to the table in order to please people. So that's another thing that is a problem with this government. He likes to play more politics than doing the actual job of a president, because for the most part, their concern has been about re-election coming back in 2027. So
Mm,
even when they have good policies, they focus the execution of those policies to help them get reelected than for
re-election.
it to benefit an average Nigerian. And that's why those policies sometimes sound good, but its practicalization or the execution has failed woefully. And that's why the people are complaining. That's why you remove subsidy and you've still borrowed more money than any
More
Nigerian
money.
president.
Yes, yes,
And right
yes.
now, just this past week, few days ago, he
It's
just
about
wrote to the
500.
Senate for another 500 billion, I think million or $1 billion loan,
Yeah,
and they are going to approve it. Akpabio is a rubber stamp
yeah, definitely,
president.
definitely.
By Monday, you probably will see the loan has been approved. An average Nigerian right now, at the last time I saw it, is owing about 748,000 naira. As a
And
Nigerian,
I
yeah,
think
let
Larry
me
wanted
let
to
me
say
let me put this in. You mentioned, for lack of a better word, you actually mentioned, political implications, and that is the bane of Nigeria all along. It has always been the bane of our politicians. I keep telling people Nigeria cannot be governed by good intent alone. You can't say, "Oh, I have good intentions for the country." Nah, you have to have the will. The will, the sheer will, is to be able to put things in place, irrespective of tribes, religion, and everything. And that is the bane of all politicians. If I do this right now, wouldn't this affect me in the next, election? That is we would always, we can speak all the English we like. None of them has that goodwill, has that will to like saying, "Oh, I want to put this in place. If you guys, don't vote for me, don't vote for me." I mean, I'm an outsider. You would think, by now, in the year 2026, we would have fixed electricity. You would think by now, the year 2026, we would have stopped building roads. Like, everybody say, "Oh, he built a road." Why are we still building roads? Like, yeah, because I want to ask, for the 516 Oracle said that they went to borrow, what is the significant impact
and that's
of that
the
new road? What is the
exactly.
significant? What are you guys trying to bring it from Sokoto to where? I know that after, see, I know this podcast might actually go somewhere where it would definitely go far. Sooner or
No,
later,
I think
people will pick
yeah,
up on it, and
yeah.
there
I
would
think what
always
we
be,
make
and there
sorry,
would,
go on,
so sorry, and there would
go on.
always be answers. There would always be answers. We're not politicians. politicians, all the people they are paying to talk would always have something to say.
Yeah.
They would always try to move the goalposts. Oh, we got this, we got nada. We can all lie, we can all do anything, we can all say whatever. And we can all keep kicking the ball down the next 4 years. I predict after the next 4 years, once again, we will say the same thing that we're saying after Buhari. Nothing has changed.
My question here is that, again, just to the point of the 500 and something million that was just borrowed for new road construction. Again, one of the things that I saw immediately or that came to mind was, how does this benefit the immediate concerns of Nigerians? Like, if you borrow this money and say this is going to electricity, and we want to make sure that in the next 3-4 years we have more power plants, we have more electricity generation with 500 and something $million, I think it will go a long way, right? I think that more than 50% of Nigerians will probably be enjoying stable electricity, if that makes sense. Compared to a road coming from Sokoto, I do not understand it. Maybe again, like you said, maybe one of the people will pick it up, and I'm not. One of the also things is that I'm not totally, because I look at and it will probably go to the next when we're talking about this,
I
like
think I think one thing Nigerian politicians love to do the most is roads. And they don't love to do roads because of the love of the people. It is just the easiest way to siphon money out of that country. Award bogus contract, inflated contracts. There are other things that could be focused on. Like the light electricity thing you said in 2026, Nigeria is still dark. Nigeria is still doing off NEPA.
probably generating 10
It is
megawatts
sad.
or
Again,
something
I
like
liked the idea of let states generate their electricity. We live in America. Donald Trump doesn't have asked zero business with how I generate light in New York. That
that.
is Cornelis Singh's business and my business. And that works absolutely fine. And that's what I want for Nigeria, where states can generate electricity and so that there's no reliance on federal government. But instead, we have a minister who was doing band A, band B, and band C. Well, the saddest part of Adelabu's time as Mr.
He's running for governor now.
Governor, and he had one of the most glamorous welcome back in your state. I saw it. And, when I lost faith in Adelabu providing electricity for common Nigerian was when it was out on one of his political consultancy, whatever, and he had a whole power bank visible in his hand. So if a minister of electricity or of power is carrying power bank, that means he's well assured that there's no light. So I have to have power bank to be able to chat. When I was in Nigeria, power bank is a basic human necessity in Nigeria.
I sense like for
It is when people are going out,
Aso Rock is currently running on solar power. So what are we?
and
Yeah,
you're looking for your phone, your wallet, your key, you
yeah.
hear and my power anti power bank meal and my power bank.
I'm checking like that.
Yeah, yeah. So in 2026, you would have thought that Nigeria should have power. Look at Ghana. Look at South Africa. These are countries that looked up to us at some point. Today, all of these countries are saying we don't want Nigeria in our country because, or instead of us to be the model for all of these countries, we are
Yeah.
migrating to those places for survival. Pathetic.
Yeah.
Like I would, like to say, the Nigerian issue is a huge conundrum. I don't have answers for it. I I I can't suggest anything. I can't say, oh, this is how it should be done. But I would think, for power, we should have been able to, like, every 4 or 5 years, be more adept at adding, megawatts. Oh, like, we were on 15 before, now we have 25, now we have 67, now we have, but it seems for Nigerians that, that on some issues, the main issues plaguing the country, Every time we try to take 2 steps forward, we take 305 backwards.
Yeah.
I would have, let's just, let's not over exaggerate it. Let's say 10. No, it's 305. Because the poverty that we are facing right now in Nigeria, it's it's nothing to write home about.
We
A
can't even
couple,
count
a
the
couple
number
of,
of
a
times
couple,
the
Yeah.
power,
a
the
couple of,
national grid has collapsed.
Oh yeah.
Nigerian national grid has
Between
collapsed.
between between January to April. Yes.
It
so,
collapsed more than
so,
anything else.
so a couple of things, right, that I want us to look at. Speaking about the issue of electricity, if they're saying that the we assume that the federal government, it's a lot for the federal government to handle by itself. Let's assume that, and that's why they decentralized this whole electricity matter. And this has been since 2023. I remember the Electricity Act was passed, I think, in 2023, and we're in 2026. And I think it's either only maybe like 2 states have been actively working on their own electricity. I think Abia and Lagos is also working
I
on
think
something.
Abia and Lagos, only Oti and
Oh,
Sanwo-Olu
no,
has tried.
so it raises the question, right? Even outside of electricity, what innovation, what new things are these governors bringing to the table outside of, and even if we're not even talking about new innovation, because I'm talking about accountability. I'm not taking away from the responsibility of the federal government, right? Or the responsibility of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I'm talking about like these governors, right? When they come in here, you're talking about like, say, you know what, new innovations, that's too much. Let's talk about like the roads and electricity.
I'll cut Tinubu
Those
some slack.
things.
Yeah.
I'll
Say
cut the
again.
president some slacks right now.
That's what I'm trying to
Because
say. Like,
are extremely, extremely, extremely useless.
it
And
baffles me.
and
Have you
you
seen the
know why they are
school?
useless? The Nigerian politics, and this is why we need to start decentralizing a lot of power from the president. Because I mean, let's just keep it from 1999 till this moment. A lot of power has often been with the president. I know there's exclusive, there's concurrent and residual power. But
Yeah,
most of the things that work in Nigeria has
yeah,
always been exclusive power of the president. So
exactly.
for the longest, the people have been conditioned to think if today is good, it's because it's the president. If it's bad, it's because of the president. And because of that idea, it has affected us so badly that we don't check all of these governors. And Nigerian governors are very useless. Again, Bola Tinubu might have done a lot of things wrong, but one thing he's done correctly that we've spoken about is he has increased revenue for all
For
state
the
governors,
okay.
and
Yes.
that should make them more proactive. But Bola Tinubu himself is also responsible for checking these people with what they do with that money.
Quick
But
question.
because Bola Tinubu likes to play politics more than governance, he is not on the asses of these governors with what they do with that money.
Let me
And
point this
the
out.
story of this man's
Let
administration.
Larry.
All right, cool. That's a very good point that you're bringing there. But I also want to point this out. The governors, how are they getting there? We we all know how some of those governors get those positions. Like I'm a Lagosian, for example. I am born, bred. How do Lagos State? How do we appoint our governors? If the powers that be just says, "Oh, Babatunde Adeyanju is going to be the Lagos State governor. Tunde will be the Lagos State governor." There's no doubt about it. It's someone, the powers that be in Lagos State is Tunde Adeyanju. Be is from Ekiti, he's from Ilesha. If he's going to, if they say he's going to be the governor, then he will be the governor. What are the criteria for some people to be the governors? They just they get there and then they report back to probably who put them there. And then what are we supposed to do if you are reporting back? Because you were put there in the way you got there. I would be somehow beholden to you. We've seen, look at the case of Wike Fubara. Like I said, I do not like getting into politics. And Nigerian politics is one of the most amazing one that I've ever seen. Because it splits along different angles. Split along tribal, religious, you know, the Godfather lines, and the party lines, and we don't even know how it works. So at the end of the day, like I said, there's no way I can provide a solution because I don't know. But the reason, what I'm saying is, I always assume that if I go to the hospital, right, and I tell the doctor what's wrong with me, my duty is just to tell the doctor, oh, I have this, headache and a pain on my right arm. It's for the doctor to now, try to do his job and tell me what could be wrong and tell me how to, resolve this. But most times for our country, it's like we have to come up with the answers for ourselves. There's no electricity, we go get solar. There's no this one, we go get right now there's no running water anymore in Lagos State. Everybody's back to go anywhere. Like I said, I've not been to parts of Nigeria, but there's no run. When I was growing up, we used to have what was that thing? Lagos State Water Corporation. And I would remember on Salah Day that we never used to buy water. Like we would, just chill, cool. Like you guys have, bucket of water, we're killing rams. But now everybody has borehole. Everybody's drilling borehole. Which some are saying at the end of the day could be at an environmental detriment. Again, you see, because we did not handle 1+1, eventually 1+1 would eventually lead us to something else because people are preferring solutions by themselves.
And not to interrupt you, just to buttress something about solution. And when people still find solution, government still try to come at it. Like you just said now, I don't know if you've seen the news.
I saw it. Solar power. Solar power tax.
Electricity. I figured something out for myself. Now you still want to tax me.
They will tax your brain soon. They will tax your brain for thinking about it.
Is the biggest advocate of taxing.
I mean, to be honest, let me say something regarding the idea of taxing. I don't think anybody will struggle with paying tax if they find that it is directly impacting them. I don't think anybody will struggle with paying tax if they see that their roads are fixed, the electricity, is better. If they see that their immediate, surroundings are better with what they are paying. So for me, it's you want to collect tax, totally fine. People will pay when they, because in fact, if you set up some sort of GoFundMe or this, Nigerians are super generous, even when they don't have. Nigerians are super generous. They don't have it by themselves. But you say this person has a problem, they will put it there. But the point I'm trying to make there is that Nigerians don't have problems with delivering their funds or whatever they have. It's the fact that there's no benefit to whatever they're giving out. So it's kind of problematic.
Do you know why? Do you know we would this podcast, right? I know I'll definitely be invited for another day. I just want to point out, do you know why Nigerians are generous? Yeah, it's because we are highly religious.
Yeah.
It's because we are highly religious. And like I told the friend, one of the good things about Nigeria, I would, give kudos to our pastors, our imams. The only reason why this country is still together is mainly because of religion. Mainly because religion sells hope. It sells hope. Nigerians are hopeful. Nigerians are always hopeful. Oh no, that this, it will favor me one day. We will get there. Even if we are seeing that there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Nigerians are your proverbial, it will be better. Don't worry. God is in control. We will kick it to God. Just Baba will handle it.
Yeah.
I know we will talk about this on another day, but let's just speak here. That's generosity.
It
Go
go
on,
better, it go better. Look at the day, but
yeah.
I agree that Nigerians will not, and let me borrow the words of my own candidate ahead of 2027 election, His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. Let me borrow his word. I don't think Nigerians have problems with paying taxes. It is the usage of the taxes and the benefit that I get it from government or the way government is treating them that would influence, how willing they are. You cannot tax people when you have not delivered dividend of democracy to them. You cannot tax people when they're trying to make, you know, a little money for themselves by selling one little thing here and there, and you want to tax them over every little thing. I don't think that's fair to them. Now, if government is providing dividend of democracy to people, it would be okay to talk about tax. We live in a very, especially when you live in New York, everything is taxed. If you buy water, you're paying tax. If you buy, the only thing that is probably not taxed is the oxygen we breathe in. I don't think that they're taxing us one way or the other that we don't even know.
And we don't complain because we're seeing.
Because barely would you drive on the road and you find a pothole. And if you find a pothole and you call 311, you know by the next time you drive there, something is probably done. So when people get benefits, it becomes easy for them to pay tax.
Yeah.
That's what's missing in Nigeria.
To point out, he mentioned his own candidate. Like I'm not a political person. Like I said,
candidate is.
Today,
His candidate is.
I don't have a candidate. I don't have a candidate. The thing is, let me tell you why I do not have a candidate. Nigerian politicians have failed me. I would like someone to surprise me. They failed me. I was, a staunch. I was a staunch, yes, of valleys, thinking things were going to change, my innocent soul just thought, well, if he gets in, he will kick them out. Like I said, good intention. Only you can't run the country with only good intention.
Buhari is a very good man. I hated him.
Very good man.
His administration, I was against it.
Like I said, the sheer will to put things in place.
But he is too backdated, not current enough for the complex Nigeria. I thought it was in 1984 when it was head of the Nigeria of 2015 had become complex. There's technology, there's the population of Nigerians has more youth now. So this has changed. And he had good intention. Again, I was against him for his HS. Every single
to point out. To point out,
he probably had good intent, but he didn't have the ability to bring that intention to life. And then, unfortunately for him, he surrounded himself with sacrifice. People who didn't tell him that, hey, the people are not happy. They kept telling him, "You're good, you're good, you're good." That's the problem. That's another problem in Nigerian politicians.
Yes, that's another thing.
Themselves to
point. Sorry, Tunde, I'm so sorry. To point this out, I keep saying 2015 was the first social media election we would ever have. Now, we had. It was the first election that came off social media. Perception was a lot of everything. Bring back our girls affected Jonathan. Barry, they rode on the goodwill, and people were angry with the corruption that was going on in the country under Jonathan, which, as we could see, it continued under the next one as well. It just, it was just like corruption just changes. you move from Real Madrid to Barcelona. Let's just, we switch and, our boys are still doing it. And we could name names. My problem, Oracle, I would always say this. If you invite a thief to your party, what then would I be inviting? What then should I be expecting? At the end of the day, if the thief actually goes away with my TV, look at the other party that we're looking at too. Not to, yes, we want to take power from these people. Look at you guys. Look at your first 11. Look at what you guys are bringing to the table. Like I said, look, and that's the thing.
We'll come back. No. Oracle, you're good. We will come back to another podcast where we will actually have a review of these alliances and all these political parties.
Oh my God!
What I want to say quickly so that we don't, because there's one more outside of reviewing this administration. So I'm going to ask each of you two questions before we speak on. I think we have like a couple of more minutes. The next topic I want us to get to is the upcoming election. Just briefly. And not on the parties or the alliance. I think we'll have another time where we will speak on those things. But I want us to talk about the responsibility. What is the responsibility of actual Nigeria in this? When does it come to a time where we hold ourselves responsible for the choices that we have, for the leadership that we have? Yes, we can hold people responsible for whatever they've done. But at what point do we, say, you know what? We also hold some sort of we need to hold ourselves accountable at some point. So first question, I'm going to ask both of you quick question. So I'm going to go first to Larry. So when it comes to government spending and infrastructure, what would you rate it?
So basically, I don't know, apart from the Lagos Calabar road that I'm hearing about, which, like we all also heard, there was no bidding, there was nothing, it was just, just given to one set of people to, do. Frankly speaking, my rating would always be low. Until I see a change. Until I see my people, Nigerians, from the east, from the south, from the southwest to the north, until I see most of them, battling, having things that people here are used to having, things that are common, that normal things that they should have had, things that should have been, opportunities that they should have had, right up, and we need to stop thinking about it as a privilege.
Yeah.
I want them to feel that way. So it's a low mark for me. Low.
About the government intention. Because the spending, say infrastructure, you're giving so say okay, no mark. I just give it a low mark. So the government spending too as well. What do you think?
That's a minus zero. Sorry, is that so sorry? Mathematically, that might not be possible, but that's a zero.
Okay.
Again, like Oracle said, I thought the subsidy was meant to be like a human. Just take it that Ibrahim doesn't, Larry, me, I have no idea about anything. We put subsidy in place just because we wanted to be able to save money and spend on something else.
Yeah.
So why are we still borrowing? It's like, it's like credit cards. I'm spending $2,000 and I'm putting it back every month. That is good, right? But for this, we are still borrowing and still being on a negative instead of having more. So, like I said, Some people will definitely pick up on this podcast and try to explain it away, but I can tell you, they all can explain it because their pocket lies somewhere. I have no bone, I have no teeth in the game. I have nothing in the game.
Yeah.
But sometimes you look at yourself in the mirror and and like I said, okay, I want to point this out. Today, I know this is a question that you asked me. It's almost 12 years now of APC rule. We used to say, oh, PDP 16 years from, it's almost 12 years. And whoever wins the next election, which somehow I think they would win, they will win, they would have spent, the same 16 years.
16 years. 32.
At that time, we'd be telling each other the truth. Where are we? Have we even moved up the scale just by, let's say, 5 meters or 5 inches or whatever, scale or measurement you want to use? That have we gone further? Have we taken, 10 steps further? That's the question I would always, well, it seems, like our politician. Let me just, okay, another day.
Oracle. So comment on the economy, security, and maybe if you want to speak on electricity.
I like what you gave me. Econ- the economy
Yeah.
is bad.
Give it a mark.
But I want to be very fair.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I okay, go on.
Because again, I want to be fair because
Yeah.
again, I just left Nigeria, and some people are I spoke with people that seem very optimistic about Tinubu, that they think nǹkan tó bá ló pọ̀ is breaking things down and is doing things. But in terms of how expensive things are, the inflation,
Yeah.
I would give him 3 out of 10.
Okay. Good. Okay. Give it 10. Security?
It's failed woefully. Can I give him minus?
Okay.
Because the number of when it came in, insecurity was still dominant in the northeast. It is trickled down to north central. A king in Kwara just ran away from his palace and said he's not returning until they can guarantee that it would be safe. It's not funny, but I imagine a king leaving his palace because he's scared of.
I heard they kidnapped him sometime.
Yeah. Now we're hearing that is the same insecurity is trickling down a little bit to the southwest. You've seen places.
Sorry. My thing. I remember when I served in Bayelsa. That was 2013 or thereabout. There was the issue of banditry has been there. I remember very well that one gentleman was unalived by one of these bandits, and it was So it's not even it's already there. So
these insecurity are not new issues.
Yeah.
It's not new. I'm not saying it's new, but it grew bigger. Aside politics in Nigeria today, the next most lucrative business, you want to guess, is kidnapping.
Yeah.
They charge 100 million, 200 million. That's a very lucrative business for those people. And sometimes, even after families have struggled to pay, they still honor life their people.
Yeah.
Almost every day you open the news, there's kidnapping, there's banditry, there's terrorism attack. So, yeah, they're not new problems. We had them under Jonathan, we had them under Obasanjo, we had them under Buhari. But under Tinubu, it has gone way worse, and they are not tackling it in any way. More major generals have been killed under this president than any other. More top military guys.
And today, Adoraku, for you to know how bad this insecurity is, we have now been so desensitized.
God bless you.
To see it. Like I just say it, because it's not, like I said,
They try to
Yoruba will
criticize
say any balomo.
true.
Every time we see things now, I just flip a page. Then after flipping the page, I get to go back and realize, oh, they just told me someone died or someone was kidnapped, and I didn't feel anyhow about it. Like as a human being,
I
because
agree.
I have seen so many
They
people
have
going for
done
people
it.
going for NYC. Oh, they took them. Oh, people doing this. Oh, they kidnapped them. And there was a recent one in between Ijebu
Yeah,
to Ibadan.
recently they
Recently, like
kidnapped the
seven.
driver or something. And this
Yeah.
thing is it's very normal. Again, when I was in Nigeria, I was asking about a family that I knew when I was very young, and the man is an Hausa man who lived where my father's house was. I mean, is and all that. And they were like, "Oh, he retired, and he got killed by a terrorist." And that hit me like it became the actual first person that I personally knew that. But it was sad to hear that after I retired from the military, it went back to his state to start farming. Something to retire on, and he got killed in that in the thing. So again, we would argue, oh, it didn't start on that Tinubu, which is the argument of his APC, whatever.
No, no.
But it has gone beyond normal on that Tinubu. And
So
this,
zero
and then the last one is the electricity.
electricity. Yeah.
Again, I try to be fair, and I'm trying to use my most recent experience, having been there for about 2 weeks. In some of the places that I was at, they had electricity for fair amount of time. But
Okay.
yeah, they still take the light, and you hear people say, "I want a monolo." You still hear up NEPA. So
Are we are we are we
in
generating
perspective,
more megawatts? I don't know if
I
that's
don't think
so
so.
the problem with the electricity and with what I got to hear is there's better electricity in certain neighborhoods than the
Yes.
other. So I've seen people who
okay.
tell you, "Oh, we barely have light for 5 hours in a day. We barely have light. It could go 3 days without light." And there's some part of the places that I was in, and for the most part, I was on the mainland, and some of those places had good electricity. Again, it's not 24 hours, maybe 12, 15, and it's not strict. So it's still the regular up there pa. Now they have this new thing now when they take their light, you hear a sound when they bring the light. So they kind of upgraded their up NEPA to you hear sounds now when the light goes on or go off. So the electricity with what Adilabo has done, I'll stick to two.
Okay. Let me tell you today why I give the economy or anything a low mark. We've had 8 years of APC rule before the current, president came in. It was supposed to be a foundation. It was supposed to be their foundation. Yes, we could divert, we could, move away. Oh, that was Barry's one. That was Baba. It's an APC issue.
Yeah.
It's down to your party. Like I would point out, back in December, I have a friend who's a counselor, APC, and I told him the only time I ever heard you complain about things happening in Nigeria was when the Mayfield dollar issue. You knew that was going to affect the incoming president. And that was the only issue you've ever had with everything that is going on. Because you, like I said, implication, you were looking at the political implication.
Yeah.
There's an election coming in the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
The former president would not be part of it because, of course, he's gone. Like as I always say, may God rest his soul. He would not be taking part. But you have someone coming in, and this is like a problem that you guys are moving to him. That's the only reason why you complain, because of that political implication. If it wasn't anything about, if it wasn't going to implicate you guys or affect you guys, you would have accepted it and said, "Oh, it's all good."
And
I
that's
mean,
the thing. A lot of things, especially with APC and their people, is they are more concerned about political implication than how it actually affects common man on the street of Nigeria. Everything is about the blowback politically. They are more focused on securing their 2027 re-election
People themselves.
than anything else that is going on. And every of the argument is always defensive,
So,
defensive.
so Oracle and Larry. So I think this will move us to the next question of where I'm trying to get us at. Now we're speaking on the integrity of the people that are representing us. We're now going into the fact that the people that we supposedly set to represent us, or I'm going to break it into two, because I think a lot of people that look like me vote for those people, but a lot of people that don't look like me, and I'm trying not to be discriminatory in my description, select these people to be on the ballot. And the reason why I say that is that if we're speaking on the integrity of these guys, to say, oh, these politicians, they come into office and they start to worry only about themselves and political their own how their political career is impacted by all these things. It does not raise the question of who put them in that position. And whether we want to say or not that maybe they were put there by godfathers, like Oracle, you and I, we spoke about this in our last podcast, that godfathers don't. Yes, they might. They also depend on the general public for acceptance. Because yes, they can say this is the person that we want, but the general public also has to, there's some backing that needs to also be there. It means that the godfather that has placed somebody to say, oh, this is who should be, also may probably has an influence on the populace or the people that are going to be there. So my question here, or my comment here, is to say that at what points do we as a people, we that were complaining, the educated, the students, the youths, the general public themselves, come to a realization that we are our own issue? Like, how did these people get to the point? I was speaking with somebody about the system, and this person was telling me about that we need to change. The system needs to change, and I say the system would never change, even if we put an angel as a president. If we do not change the system ourselves, if we do not start to be intentional about the people that we either vote for or we select. So it goes back to the question that I was saying, that is our power limited to the voting alone, or the selection of the people that go to the ballot? Because it means that if we have a power prior to election, prior to voting, probably there will be some sort of some sort of correction there if we're able to actually select people that go to the ballot. I don't know if that makes sense.
I would like to take this.
Let Larry go first.
I would like to take this, and I would take a bit of time on this,
Go on.
and I would go to your stuff. You see, the human nature, it's very weird. Human nature can be very funny, and there are things that we Nigerians know better than everyone out there. I will start because you did mention the word integrity. What is integrity? Because that's another word that Nigerians throw about every time. Integrity means you have to be truthful at all times, irrespective of who it would affect. If you are a policeman, your dad takes bribe, you have to take him in. If you're a judge, if it's your son, you have to do the right thing. It means doing the right thing at all times. At all times. Not, I'm outside, Ojuaye. No, at all times, even from your bedroom down, whatever. It has to be. The second thing, after telling you about that, I will talk about poverty. The Nigerian mentality, poverty has a lot to do, with all this. How do people end up voting for who they vote for? I have no choice when I'm hungry. I don't. I have no choice. If you are giving me rice, I'm beholden to you. If you are to one a landlord that is sharing rice every weekend, a landlord that is of one party, that is giving people rice and everything, but it's very likely, there's a likely chance, the highest of chances, that his household or the old people staying there would vote for the party the landlord is voting for. That's how poverty works. That's how things work most times. Or, like Nigerians are getting there, people are now, trying to change. Then, two, religion and tribalism. That's It has gotten way worse. We will have another podcast. Religion and tribalism right now. It has moved from what I saw in 2015. Right now, it's an all-out war.
Yeah.
Some people just want their own people there. I don't care what it does. I'm my own person. They don't care what it does. Along ethnic lines, along tribal lines, along religion wise. But at the end of the day, there are consequences to these things.
I
So
honestly,
it goes back to the same thing that I was saying,
Yes,
I
that
there are
honestly,
consequences. There are
we make good
consequences.
choices and
I
then complain
honestly
about it.
agree with Larry on that poverty. But then I've also come to realize this. Sometimes it's not even poverty. Nigerians are very strong opinionated people, and people support candidates for different reasons.
Yeah.
There is no reason in hell, on earth, and in heaven why Adelabu Adebayo should return to Oyo after he resigned as Minister of Power with the crazy thing he did. This
Tribalism.
is a whole
Let me,
street field of people.
Oracle, Oracle. I want to tell you a story. Back in 1999 or 2000, I can't remember if it's Bode George or someone else. He was a leader in PDP, right? And he had a fight with Obasanjo, whatever. I can't remember who. But they actually took him to jail. He was in
Is that
jail.
one of the judge?
Huh? Yes, it's
Is
like
that by
Bode George.
Bode George?
Bode George. He went to jail for whatever. I mean, I was a kid then.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I remember
When
his
he got
church members. Yes, I still remember church members. His people went to welcome him.
yeah, they had a whole Guadala Mesiaga
Yes,
who got
yeah.
is that of
So
2016 or
he,
27. There was a whole party for him.
I'm going to. We will have another.
Not just money.
We will have another
So it
podcast.
means that it means so.
Today,
Listen,
People are
today,
the problem.
so
yes,
exactly what I'm talking
we will
about.
today,
Not even
today.
the problem. Even rich people, everybody has just has or just have different biases. I
Yes,
you know
that I agree.
try to I try to speak with different people when I was there, even when I'm here anytime. And I realize that people just have biases. Some of those biases are personal. They don't
They don't
care.
care. They don't care.
People will tell you, oh, I'm supporting Tunde because Tunde's brother is my friend. And if Tunde is governor, his brother will be in good position. Me as a brother's friend, I will be in good position. So if Tunde, I could be a Christian and Tunde is even an idol worshiper, but
Yeah.
because I
Okay.
already can pick a connection, and so I would come back to me, I'm voting for him. Some people will vote along Tunde as a Christian.
Yeah.
No way in hell would I vote for a Muslim. I'm voting for a Christian.
So is it safe to say that the government is just a
Reflection
reflection
of the
of the
people.
society?
It's simple. There is
Mm,
there is so much different sentiment in Nigeria that when you act and you think, oh, is religion sentiment today? Some people will come up with tribal sentiments. Some people will come up with academics. Some people will even tell you they like somebody
Nigeria
because
is
of
just
how they
really a
speak.
complex state to govern.
It's Nigeria is the most complicated country in the world.
Yes,
People,
I do agree. I
people tell
agree.
you because of
I tell outsiders, don't when you want to talk about Nigeria, please don't.
yeah.
You have no idea.
Somebody will tell you this
You
candidate
have no
because
idea.
of dresses. It's not because
Yes.
currently in Lagos now, they are telling you, I mean, even though ABC has a consensus candidate now, before that, every time they were speaking about next governor of Lagos, the only conversation is it must be a Muslim. That's the basis they are using to pick the next governor. Because they tell you Ambode was Christian for 4 years. Sanwo-Olu did 8 years as Christian. Christian have had 12 years straight. So automatically the political ecosystem in Lagos is telling you
Yes.
the criteria for you right now is to
If
be
you
a
are a
Muslim.
Christian, yeah.
That's why you see somebody like my dad that was a Christian at some point. You see him every Friday now.
No wonder. No wonder. What you just said now made sense because right now I was on Twitter like some hours ago and I
I'm
saw
back.
Jendor.
On the thing now.
Jendor's
Right?
part was he was quoting an Arabic passage. No wonder he was reading. I could read what he wrote. I read it. And it was,
Must be
no wonder. That's what Jendor wrote. You can go check it out. That's what he wrote. Like a Muslim, an Arabic person. I was like, what's all this? Oh.
so now,
So, so
if you go to Ogun State now, the mood in Ogun State is not to bring an talented person. The mood in Ogun State, I'm from Ogun State, they will tell you, you are local.
That's
Yeah,
Yayi.
that's I was in Ogun State. It was yeah. So for
but
them now, it's not competent.
let's look at this way. If it is not going in that order of saying, oh, is this group stone or it's another group stone or is this race, is this tribe stone? If I'm just trying to play in between now. Does it, if we let it go as is, wouldn't it be a case of where maybe in a country where there's like a lot of tribes, in a country where there's a lot of religion, would it not come to a point where there is a dominant force? I mean, if we get to look, if we're looking at it, because it comes to a point where everybody wants to be represented. Everybody wants to feel like they have
They have a place on the table.
they have like good representation.
So this is when Nigeria is also a wicked place politically. Big swallow fish. So if I am a Christian, okay, we have 3 people here. If 2 of us on this show are a Christian, now it means you who is a Muslim, you are the minority here. So me and Larry, if you are the Christian and you two are the Muslim, we can decide to
Exactly.
you
So like,
to beg one of us now and be like, Auraku, Gafababa,
so you see what I'm saying, Oracle. It means that if it is not structured to say if it is one person to one person, another person will take it. It might become a case of like what you're saying, that if you are the minority, you might have less representation.
There's no perfect structure.
So
There's
that's
no perfect
I'm just
structure.
putting to the fact that
That's why I said
there's
I'm here. Yes, I'm here not to prefer solution because I don't know.
Nobody can prefer solution. Like
Yeah,
this.
I can't. Yes,
guys,
yeah. I just want to trust. I just want to have the ability that let me trust the people that are putting there.
All the 3 of us here are Yorubas.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are probably from different states. I'm from Ogun State.
I'm from Lagos.
You're from Lagos. Osun. In Osun, they speak a different type of Yoruba. If you go to in Osun, if you go to Ilesha or Ijesha, some people will have a different dialect. So everything, look at Oyo State now. One of the biggest problem is where the next governor is going to come from. Oh, he must not come from Ibadan. He must come from Ogbomoso or Okeogun. Even in the people that are supposed to be brothers speak the same language, there is still some politics going on, and people will tell you, if you are from Ogun State right now, if you are not from Yewa, don't throw your hat in the ring, because every political party already has that memo. Yewa Lokon, anybody that must be governor of Ogun State must come from there. Lagos, you must be a Christian. I'm sorry, a Muslim.
I think we'll definitely have another session where it just shows that there's a whole lot to talk about as
No,
far as
there
it
is.
comes to
Oh
the
no.
Nigerian society, the Nigerian government. There's a whole lot to speak about, generally about Nigeria, and I'm just really appreciative of the fact that you guys came on the show and shared your opinions. I'm sure we'll have like a lot of comments from people who have maybe different opinions, but it's just for me. It's a thing where we want to engage young people to speak, keep talking about Nigeria. It's highly important because
Yes.
the way it is amongst young Nigerians right now is that they're losing the interest, and it's highly concerning.
Yes.
So yes, I really thank you all. Thank you, Larry, for joining in. Thank you, Oracle, for joining in. Next episode, I'm just telling all of our viewers that just this next episode is gonna be another interesting one.
Yes, man.
Last word from Larry.
Yes. Thank you so much for having us today. It was really an insightful one. Like I said, I want my country to be better. I really want Nigeria to be better. The best place for Nigerians and for others. How we are going to go there, how we will get there, I don't know. They have to just try to trust the process. But what kind of process are you guys putting in place? I wouldn't know. Wish the next president, if he's still the one, I wish them success. But we are,
Yeah,
we hope for good things.
yeah, yeah.
If it's a new one,
Oracle.
we hope for good things.
I
Oracle.
mean, like I always say, whether or not I support the president politically, is the president of Nigeria. Nigeria is very dear to me, and I would always hope and pray that he succeeds at all times. Because if he succeeds, I wouldn't have to send money to more people. I'm being honest here. But when it fails, it means I have to send more money to more people, and that's a lot on me. So I want him to succeed, and I want the country to succeed, and I hope that as part of the successes that will happen in Nigeria next year is that he will lose the election, so that my own candidate Peter Obi can win,
Um,
and we will
it's
see what my candidate Peter Obi will do.
okay.
And if my candidate doesn't still win, I will still be hoping and praying for Bola Tinubu. By 2031, APC would have completed, their own 16 years, and then we cannot compare and contrast with the PDP 16 years. The only sad thing is I just mathematically realized that a child that is born in 1999 would have been 32 at that time. So you would have spent your 32 years with two different political parties. That has messed your life up. But we hope for the best, and I'm grateful to have been on this show to speak about Nigeria. Nigeria is very dear to me. I love Nigeria very much.
Yeah.
I'm very patriotic about my country, and I hope that it gets better. Again, before I go, also, I must say that there were good things when I haven't been in Nigeria for 10 years before I went earlier this month. And there was some significant progress that I must admit to. I drove from Lagos to Abeokuta and I didn't see one single pothole on the way. It was good. There's this Muhammadu Buhari expressway. Allegedly, it was done by Buhari, not and Amusun during their time. It wasn't Tinubu that did it, but we'll give it to APC as a collective. There was that. There's some good roads. They're trying, but I mean there are still terrible roads. But the
Yeah.
problem, what I realize is when the road is good, it's very good, and when it's gonna be bad,
So bad.
it's bad. So, but there's progress, and we hope that the governors are proactive, local government chairmen that get more money too can do something. And we hope that sometimes the people also learn about how government works and sometimes just don't blame the president for everything. To be fair to him, there's some things that it's the duty of your local government chairman to do. The road in your street is not the president's road. It's not the governor's, it's your local government. So people should also be more informed to, ask questions about what this local government chairman are doing. And local government is a big deal now. That's why you even
It
see
is.
politicians having their sons now run
Become
for it because there's a lot of money in there now. And every local government chairman has no excuse. If you don't like Bola Tinubu for anything, he has
something.
increased revenue for all of these people. And local government have their autonomy now. I think they get their money directly. They don't even have to deal with governors sitting on the money. So they should be able to do something for the people. The governors also should be able to do something. And I think collectively there should be true separation and decentralization of power that would also help the country. But Nigeria will be better. I'm still very optimistic. I haven't, I'm not there yet that I would absolutely give up on the country.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Marco.
Marco.
I'm
I'm
also
also
deeply optimistic about the
the
country,
country,
and
and
I for
I for
one,
one,
I'm not super
super
for your
for your
candidate,
candidate,
Oracle.
Oracle.
I'll
I'll
say
say
that
that
for
for
just
just
just to
just to
say,
say,
I would have to
um,
ask you, which
but
your kind?
you know
you know
what? On the
what? On the
next
next
episode,
episode,
I'll
I'll
reveal.
reveal.
Let me use it.
On
I
the
want
next
to use
on
I
the
want
next
to use the Twitter slang. There's
on,
corn in your pocket.
on, on my
On my
next
next
episode,
episode,
I'll
I'll
tell you.
tell you.
The thing
The
is,
thing is,
I
I
think
think
that
that
again on the
on the
next
next
episode,
episode,
we'll
we'll
have like
have
a
like a
deep
deep
talks
talks
about
about
these
these
parties and
parties
this
and this
individuals
individuals
rather,
rather,
and
and
actually
actually
why
why
why we're
we're
rooting for
rooting for
whoever we're
whoever we're
rooting
rooting
for.
for.
I think
I think
it makes it
makes it
good
good
when we
when
can
we
all
can all
have
have
like
like
discussions
discussions
with
with
understanding
understanding
on
on
whoever
whoever
we're
we're
vying
vying
for.
for. You know,
So
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 yes,
yes,
pay
pay
attention to
attention
my
to my
to my
to my
next to
next to
our
our
next
next
episode
episode
for
for
for who my
who my
candidate
candidate
is.
is.
So
So
yes,
yes,
thank you
thank you
everybody
everybody
for
for
watching
watching
this
this
episode.
episode.
It's
It's
really
really
an
an
amazing
amazing
time.
time.
Make
Make
sure to
sure to
like,
like,
subscribe,
subscribe,
and
and
comment.
comment.
Let us
Let
know
us know
what
what
your
your
thoughts is
thoughts is
about the
about the
present
present
administration,
administration,
and
and
also what
also
we're
what we're
expecting in
expecting in the
upcoming
upcoming
election.
election.
Again,
Again,
we are
we are
really
really
believing
believing
that the
that the
country will
country will
move
move
to a
to a
better
better
place.
place.
That's what
That's
we're
what
all
we're all
praying
praying
for,
for.
that our
That our
country
country
becomes
becomes
better.
better.
That we
That
can
we can
all look
all
at
look
our
at our
country and
country
be
and be
proud of where
proud of
we're
where we're
from.
from.
We're
We're
Nigerians
Nigerians
are
are
naturally
naturally
proud
proud
people.
people.
So we
So we
want to
want
be
to
able
be
to
able to
actually be
actually be
proud of
proud
our
of our
country
country
and be
and
proud
be
of
proud
our
of our
leadership
leadership
also.
also.
And
And
Erko
Erko
mentioned
mentioned
something
something
about
about
education of
education
the
of the
people.
people.
We need
We
to
need to
actually
actually
educate
educate
ourselves on
ourselves
the
on the
functions of
functions
all
of all the
the levels of
levels of
government.
government.
What are the
What are the
roles of the
roles of the
federal
federal
government, the
government, the
state
state and the local
and the
and the
local
local
government?
government?
All of
All
this
of this
help us
help
to
us
hold
to
them
hold them
accountable
accountable
and
and
to make
to
sure
make sure
that
that
they are
they are
fulfilling
fulfilling
all
all
their
their
campaign
campaign
and
and
political
political
promises.
promises.
So
So
I'll
I'll
stop here
stop here
now,
now,
and
and
again,
again,
see
see
you on the
you on the
next
next
episode.
episode.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.
And
And
until
until
next
next
time,
time,
my name
my
is
name is
Ayatunde
Ayatunde
Adeyanju,
Adeyanju,
and
and
this is
this is
Perspective
Perspective
Africa.
Africa.
Bye now.
Bye now.